I'm Julie Saunders.
I'm Jan Wilson. Julie and I both have experience as school librarians, and we've worked together as district library leaders.
In each episode, we'll dive into our profession with interviews and meaningful content to inspire you.
The ideas and opinions shared by any host, guest, or listener are their own and do not represent those of any respective school district.
Welcome to Library Exchange. This episode is supported by our friends at Kids Discover. We are sure you remember the beautifully written and illustrated Kids Discover magazines on topics like the American Revolution, ancient Egypt, and ecology.
Now, their digital platform, Kids Discover Online, is fast becoming a favorite for K-8 students. It offers an entire library of science and social studies content with multiple reading levels and a suite of features, making it accessible for every learner.
Ready to try it? Visit kidsdiscover.com/digital to get 60 days of trial access for your entire school. Hello, it's just about the end of August, and if you're not already back at it, you will be soon. Wherever you are, thanks for tuning in.
Our guest today is school librarian Rachael Welsh. Rachael has 19 years in education, 13 of those in the library, and this past May, congratulations, you were named a Library Journal Mover and Shaker.
Rachael is actively involved in the Texas Library Association and in 2024 was a TAL Texan. TAL stands for Texas Accelerated Library Leader. She recently won the MVP award for the Texas Association of School Librarians. MVP is the Media Virtual Presence Award.
Okay, Rachael, are there any other award acronyms we need to clarify before we continue? All right. Welcome to Library Exchange, Rachael.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to talk to you today. And to get us started, can you share about your school, including the students and staff you serve?
Yes, I am at a middle school in Pearland, Texas, which is right south of Houston. My middle school is 5th and 6th graders. So we have middle school is 5th and 6th, and then junior high is 7th and 8th, which is super fun because they are young enough to still be excited about learning, excited about finding new things, new characters, but they also understand my sarcasm, which is a very integral part of my library program. My school...
bonus.
Yes, it's necessary. My school has about 850 students, but we have 3 different programs. So we have general ed, so the kids that are kind of zoned to our school. Then we have a dual language program, so the teachers speak both English and Spanish. It's different from ESL because parents choose to put their children in at kindergarten, and then they go through the program through 6th grade. And in 6th grade, they're earning high school credit for their Spanish classes. We also have our Gifted and Talented Academy, which buses in our GT students from, again, this is different from their pre-AP classes or advanced class. This is a department that is just solely focused on gifted and talented. It's very different. It's very diverse. It's really fun because it's something different every day. And yeah, I love it. I was at an elementary school as a librarian and then a high school. And so this is my middle school. I tell the students that I'm collecting the grade levels like infinity stones.
Yeah. So another guest, Julie, that has hit the trifecta.
All right.
That's a great variety of students. I like that.
It's really fun because I get to, kind of do different things with different programs. I get to focus on the bilingual with the dual language kids. I get to do some more advanced, some of my high school stuff with my gifted and talented kids, some of the advanced research that they're doing. And then I get to do the fun on-level programming for the gen ed kids who also have advanced classes. So it's just a huge variety of things. And it really keeps me kind of constantly working and constantly coming up with fun things for them to do.
Great. So, Rachael, I attended your session called Building a Schoolwide Culture of Reading in June. Since we're early in the school year, we'd love for you to share some of the ideas to inspire other librarians to try something new. I'd love to start with how you build a visible culture of reading inside and outside of your library. Can we start there?
Yes, I love books starting off. That's kind of how I got into this. I love stories and kind of anything that goes with it, nonfiction, fiction. So I love showcasing all of that. I was seeing on social media a lot of teachers and librarians had smart boards or smart TVs where they were able to stream through the screen. I did not have one of those and was very jealous. But then I came up with the idea. I had gifted my father a digital photo frame for Christmas and realized that he was not using it. So I regifted it to myself. It's that lovely father thing. I was like, you're not using this, are you? And he's like, I guess not. I was like, thanks, but I'm taking this back. So I have digital photo frames within the library. So the students are able to create graphics of book reviews of different books that they like. They're able to showcase their reading and their creativity. I bring the digital photo frames home because the school Wi-Fi doesn't let me on. And then we upload the JPEGs or the PNG files, and then they just kind of filter through. And we have different ones throughout the library. So it's open to any of the students. They create through Canva or Adobe Express and send me their graphics. And then they're able to go and see what books other people are reading and are interested in. We also have a more analog version of that. I have a poster that says, "What should I read next?" with a pile of Post-it notes next to it with some pens and pencils. And the students are able to write, some of them write very in-depth reviews of the books that they've read. Some of them just put the title. Some of them even have books that aren't in the library, but that they're still reading and enjoying, which is really easy for me because, as librarians, the students always think that we've read every single book in the library, right? Which I was like, I've read a lot of them, but, just like the kids, I have ones I don't like. I don't like manga. I don't like to read it.
Okay.
Don't tell anyone.
Okay. They won't listen to this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, manga is not my thing, but I have a lot of it. And so when the kids are asking for recommendations, I'm just like, I don't know. So it's nice to be able to point to those places and tell them like, oh, see what your friends have read. Go and see what these reviews are. And it kind of gets me off the hook of giving those recommendations. And the kids always really like pointing to them, showing their friends what books they've read and what they like. And the kids are able to also add to it. Some of them will add their own Post-its like, yes, this one was great, which is really fun because then you have that interactive quality. It's really nice. I have not had a single Post-it note stack stolen, which I was also very impressed about. Like, yay, kids, because, things go missing. But that has also been super useful and so easy to do. And then my last thing that we have inside the library is what I call Adopt a Shelf. When I came into the library, the previous librarians had not done a lot of weeding, especially in the nonfiction section. And we had, books that still have USSR and biographies of people that the kids had no idea who they even were. So I did a huge weeding, had a library gardening session and got rid of a bunch of stuff. And so I ended up having like a full shelf of empty shelves. And so rather than spread things out, I kept that empty and created this Adopt a Shelf program. I have an adoption form that the kids fill out and they tell me what their display idea is. So basically they're adopting the shelf. They're going to create this library display with books and they create a graphic. It is 5th and 6th graders. So we get a lot of my favorites and pink books and, spooky books. So a lot of, cutesy. It's so much fun because you get to see their personalities too, like all of these cutesy girls with all the like bows and stuff. But then you also get the kids that had the blood dripping down the paper, and I'm like, okay.
And they bring their friends in to show them their shelf.
Yes, so they get to have their display for 2 weeks, and I tell them, when books get checked out, you need to go and get more books, even if it's my favorites. If the shelf is empty, you have to go and find some new ones. So they're getting to know the collection a lot more too, because of course, they're like, I'm going to do a shelf of Dog Man. I'm like, cool, that'll be empty in like a second. So what if we like expand to dog books? And so then they're going and finding the books that have dogs in them or have a dog character, and they're getting to know the collection also. And yeah, their friends get to see it. We also have teachers that are involved that do both, kind of curricular stuff. My Spanish teacher came in and it was around the Super Bowl, the Bad Bunny Bowl, as we like to refer to it. And so she did the difference between Latino countries and Hispanic speaking countries, because those are different, and had a really cool display that reached kids outside of just her Spanish classes. Then I had an English teacher that loved Halloween. So she just wanted to come in and do, like a spooky, she brought like leaves and, fall stuff for her display. And it was really cool. So again, the kids are like, oh, let's go see Miss So-and-so's display.
Huh.
And so it really gets people to know each other and to know the collection also.
And now a word from our sponsors.
It's time to talk about our friends at Kids Discover. They're an award-winning educational publisher that's been a favorite among students and school librarians for over 3 decades.
Their digital learning platform, Kids Discover Online, is a game changer for elementary and middle schoolers by providing access to thousands of science, social studies, and nonfiction articles.
And unlike other databases in the market, Kids Discover Online's modern interface is highly visual. It actually gets kids excited about reading and learning.
Plus, it's built for every student. We're talking multiple reading levels, translations in 28 languages, and a fully accessible interface for all learners.
You can actually get 60 days of trial access for your entire school right now by visiting kidsdiscover.com/digital.
I know you had mentioned something about a twist on the what I'm currently reading idea with teachers. What did you do there?
Yes. So I had seen the what I'm reading signs and was like, oh, that's great. And so I put them on every single teacher's, just went around and stapled them myself and told everybody like, oh, I put these signs up, update them as you will. Some of the teachers never updated them, like never put anything on there. And then I was very guilty about putting something on and then not updating it myself. So the kids would be like, oh, how's this book? And I was like, what? I read that 2 months ago. Oh yeah, I didn't change that. So I actually got this idea from Lauren Mobley with a presentation that she and I did together. She made signs for her teachers' rooms. So hers was what I like to read or what I'm reading, but she updated it herself and they were able to stay up. So I changed it a little bit. I sent out a survey at the beginning of the year to my teachers. I gave them 3 options so that we had different categories throughout the school. And it was, what was your favorite book when you were in middle school? What's your favorite book, period? And then what book do you like to recommend? And so we have those. And again, it was only the teachers that responded, which most of them did. I have just the book covers and the books throughout the school that kids are able to see. So they're constantly surrounded by book pictures and by reminders of reading. And again, it kind of brings that connection back to the teachers too, because the kids can talk to them. So, choosing those books that the kids were able to either check out from the library or talk to them about because they had read them was really cool and really fun. I told myself that I was going to change them throughout the year, and then I did not do that. But it was fine because, the books are timeless and, your favorites are your favorites. A lot of my students, they read with their eyes first, which I know sounds kind of crazy. And we always say you can't judge a book by its cover, but these kids do. And so if the books are older looking, a lot of them wouldn't check them out. But seeing that their teacher's favorite book was Charlotte's Web, then they were going and checking out the older books because they saw that their teachers liked it and they wanted that connection.
Aww.
Well, that's the secret right there because you gave students ownership in the library with the displays, and then there are other signs throughout the campus, not just inside the library. I wanted to talk about, another big piece for building a reading culture is motivation. So how do you build competition into your school's reading culture?
I am a very competitive person. So we do use Beanstack. We started Beanstack this year, which is a reading tracking incentive program. So the kids are able to go in and log the minutes that they read as well as the books that they read. I really like this platform. The teachers use it also, but it's a little bit different than, I think most of us millennials and elder millennials and Gen X grew up with the accelerated reader. We had the AR that was our incentive, and it doesn't work for everybody. And it kind of changed because teachers, they would use it for grades, which is not how it's supposed to be. So I would have a school-wide competition, but then the teachers kind of got into it and they would create competitions within their homerooms. So they would create competitions that would keep the kids reading. The teachers are able to log all of the kids at once. So even the students that would forget to log their reading, if they were reading in class, the teachers could go in and log everybody. And I would do a monthly challenge. We are very food motivated at our school.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of, treats, and I did what I called reverse trick or treating. So I would take my little cart of treats to deliver to the students in their classrooms. We had one that was all that and a bag of chips challenge, which was you get spicy chips after you read your 500 minutes. And so, of course, all the kids were like, I want some chips. It's like, well, you better log your minutes next time. Like, hi. We did a ramen party at the end of the year in May for Asian American Pacific Islander Native Hawaiian Month, where the kids got to come in and I had bought individual ramen packets from Costco, and then we watched 90s Pokemon.
Yeah. But that was a big hit.
Yeah, teaching the kids the ancient texts, if you will.
Yes.
They had so much fun because they got to come in and I had spicy chips and little seaweed snacks, like had kind of a little buffet, thank you, Costco, of stuff that they were able to have. We also created a Battle of the Books this year. So I wanted it to be a district-wide competition, but not everybody in my district was kind of down for it. And so this is, what I have learned in my elder years is I used to get really down about like, oh, nobody wants to play with me. Like nobody wants to do this. And now I'm of the opinion of, well, I'm just going to do it and everyone will see how much fun we're having. I think it was 13 going on 30 where she was trying to get Mark Ruffalo to dance and do this. She's like, everyone's going to see how much fun we're having and they're going to come join us. And that's kind of essentially what happened. Was I wanted to do this Battle of the Books and everyone was like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do this myself and just have a campus-wide Battle of the Books. So we have the Bluebonnet list as one of our state reading lists. That's for students 3rd grade through 6th grade. So I chose different books from our Bluebonnet list and challenged the kids to read it. I ended up having 4 teams. That's how many students were interested, 4 teams of 6 to 8 kids. And then sure enough, as I was talking about it in meetings and talking about how excited my kids were and the big difference. So Pearland is the suburb of Houston that we're in, which is small and large at the same time. So parents would talk to parents and the kids were talking to friends at other schools. And so then some of the librarians were like, hey, my students are actually talking about this Battle of the Books thing. Like, is it too late for us to get in on it? I was like, nah, come on, girl, let's party. So we ended up having 2 other schools and we had a district level competition. We reserved the boardroom where they have the school board meetings and the kids were so impressed. We did it in May, so there wasn't a lot of curricular issues because we bussed them over and the superintendent was the moderator and kind of, it was in, the kids were like, oh my gosh, Dr. Berger is there. I know. It's crazy. So they felt so impressive and so cool. And it was so fun to get them, again, like they have friends at other schools and just having that healthy competition where it's about the reading. It's about the books. The questions were just the books and it really challenged them because a lot of my kids were like, oh, well, I've already read this book. And I was like, cool, you're going to want to read it again. And then sure enough, the week of the competition, I did some sample questions and they didn't get them right. And so for these, kind of high achieving, sweet baby nerds were like, oh my God. So they had to go and like frantically read the books. And it was so much fun. So even if you can't get district level, like don't let that stop you. If you have these ideas and if it's going to benefit your students, try it out. And then again, word will spread and people will want to join you. Look at how much fun we're having.
Right. Yes, that's great. So Rachel, you sponsor 2 book clubs. Is that correct?
I do. So we have the SAB book club, which is, just kind of open to everybody. Well, both of my book clubs are open to everybody, I will say. But we have a book club that is, I hate calling it the normal book club, but the other one is bilingual book club. So I collaborate with my dual language department and we choose books that are printed in both English and Spanish. The kids get to choose which version they want, if they want the English book or the Spanish book. So it is open to everybody. I have students that are in the dual language department that join, but also in the GT and the Gen Ed. So we have everybody across the board that have joined. And then when we have these conversations, the conversations are in English and Spanish. I have really good relationships with my dual language department and my teachers. And so I had the Spanish teacher who is one of my sponsors. And then this year I was so excited. Our sponsor is the math teacher.
Ooh.
Which you don't really see a lot. So she had joined. So this past, we're in August, we're starting a new year. So this past school year was our second year to do it. And our first year, she joined as a member. So she is from Mexico. She and her husband moved when they were in their 20s. So English is very much not her first language. And I said, oh, do you want the Spanish book? And she said, no, I want to work on my English.
Huh.
Yes.
Wow.
So I said, please share that with the kids. So it's been so great because we choose books that are authentic voices that are written by Spanish-speaking authors and about Mexican or El Salvadorian or Honduran lives. When they're talking, we choose. It's the same as the regular book club. We have a variety of genres that we choose from. We always end with a graphic novel because everybody's always very tired at the end of the year. And then at the end of each book, we do kind of a celebration for that book, which for the bilingual book club has become really fun because I didn't realize that there is such a variety of Hispanic identities and that we have so many of the different ones in our school. For each book that we read, there was at least one kid that was like, oh, this is my culture. I can bring such and such from the book. I'll get my mom to make. And I was like, yes, please. Thank you so much. And so the kids were always able to share more about their lives. And the teachers, especially our math teacher, shared that with math, you don't really get to know the kids as well as with the liberal arts. And so she was like, I would never have known these facts about these kids and their personal lives because, we just talk about integers.
Right.
And that they're learning about their teachers. Like we would share stuff too. I would talk about my dad came to Texas and worked at a chemical plant and would come home. We read A Seed in the Sun, Una Semilla de Sol. It's about migrant farmers. And the father was very rough, very almost angry all the time. And so, we all kind of shared. I was like, my dad would come home because his work was so laborious and he was in the heat. And, when my brother and I were younger, my mom would say, okay, he's going to come home. He's going to eat dinner and shower and go to bed. You guys go upstairs and be quiet and don't get into fights. Sharing those things with our students was just really cool and got us to a deeper place. Both, the teachers and I getting to know each other and also the kids, that they felt like they could share these personal things that they weren't able to do. And some of the students, this was the only club that they were in because they were primarily Spanish speaking and didn't feel comfortable in any of the other clubs. So this was the only place where they felt that they were, welcomed and seen. Yeah.
Wow, great, Rachel. It really reminds us that reading is a social activity, right?
Yeah.
It builds community, it builds relationships, and you've really utilized that in great ways.
I liked your comment about the math teacher because I was a math teacher. Because what can you say? Hey, Julie, did you grow up with positive or negative numbers? But
what formula describes you?
Did y'all have the quadratic formula in your house when you were growing up? Okay. I think we've milked that one. But Rachel, I want to mention though, as we close up, that your first job was shelving books at the public library when you were in high school. And that's so cool to think about. And can you remind our listeners where they can connect with you online or on their phone?
Yes, I am on Instagram at Rachael Reads, Rachael. My parents were fancy in the 80s. And then on TikTok also at Rachael Reads _.
Thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Yay, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I hope everybody has a great year. Get some reading going. There's so many good books out there.
Okay, Julie, we've exchanged ideas. Why don't you get us started?
Sure. So building a reading culture takes a shared philosophy to encourage a love of reading. When you consistently involve students and teachers with your library programming, it creates an emotional investment in that vision. So making sure that your students have leadership opportunities in the library means that they have now become your library cheerleaders. If you listen to episode 112 last year with Sarah Sansbury and the flywheel theory, It's true that you can build reading momentum that spreads. Rachael is creating school-wide reading momentum also. The digital photo frames that showcase what students like to read really highlights the peer-to-peer recommendations and allows a lot of creativity, don't you think?
Yeah.
So don't worry if you cannot provide the digital photo frames, that's okay, because Rachael gives an example of just using a plain old poster board with Post-it notes that students can add their what they have read to the what I should read next poster. It only costs a few dollars to do this to encourage student connections. She also does her Adopt a Shelf program, which is not the same as keeping the books in order on the shelf. So this is more about book promotion. The students really get emotionally invested in displaying the books that are related to their theme. And it really helps them get to know the whole collection by doing this. Teachers also get involved with things that they are passionate about too. So it's a good way to have student ownership and a shared vision with your teachers as well.
Yeah, I love that her teachers did Adopt a Shelf. That's great. I'm so glad that she shared the ideas that you just mentioned, Julie, because visibility is everything for building a culture of reading. And just like librarians need to get out into the school, reading shouldn't just stay inside the library or only happen in language arts classes as well. Okay, let's talk reading club. Rachael has 2, which include staff as members or sponsors, and this gives teachers from all subject areas an opportunity to connect with students outside of their classroom. And you guys, book clubs are possible at any level. If after-school meetings aren't possible, find a way to make it happen during lunches. And this might mean you're hosting a reading club across several lunch periods. Been there, done that. I survived, Julie. And eventually I asked for teachers to co-sponsor and we divided the meetings. I personally feel that a reading club is that important because it's a social community building experience for your students, and talking about a book and students don't have to worry about a grade or a test. It's very freeing for them. You know what? When I left the local school to work at the district office, hands down, book club is the thing that I miss the most. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
No.
One more thing. Another strategy is hosting library events around book to movie releases. There's a new Hunger Games movie coming out this November, and Greta Gerwig is directing Narnia. That's coming out in February 2027. Yeah. So librarians, take advantage of that media and hype that's already going around for movie marketing.
Yeah, great idea. Sometimes students will just pick up a book to read if they know it's going to be in a movie, right?
Yeah. That's kind of like what we tried to do this summer with Dungeon Crawler Carl, right, Julie?
Oh. A failure on my part.
I haven't finished it either. I'm afraid to say that, but I've had it for 2 months. It's right here, and I'm still on chapter 15.
I kind of got stuck too. So that same connection happens when students see what their teachers are reading. I really like the options Rachael offered teachers for encouraging reading. She sends a survey and creates signs for each staff member, and students are able to see what the teachers listed as their favorite book or what they read in middle school or what book they would recommend. So definitely a time saver since a lot of these answers stay the same for that school year and are still relevant for encouraging reading. The signs spark conversations between students and teachers about reading and continue that momentum of building a school-wide reading culture.
Yeah, it really does. I would really like to know what some of my high school teachers considered their favorite book. Anyway, you guys also, you have to think about what motivates your students to read. How do you engage them as readers? Is it with a prize? Will they earn a special privilege? Is it the belonging on a team, like Battle of the Books? Just think about what pulls them in. Rachael knows that her students respond to food. Her All of That and a Bag of Chips challenge did 2 things. She delivered the chips to classrooms, which gave them a little bit of recognition, and then they got chips, which is the reward. I want to give a shout out on social media. This month, Be in the Library has a series of posts about reading incentive programs for librarians without a prize budget. Look it up. It's worth it. Listeners, building a school-wide reading culture doesn't happen overnight, but intentional steps like the ones Rachael shared make a difference. You can do it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back on September 7th.
Make sure to visit our website at www.libraryexchangepodcast.com.
There, you'll find episode notes, resource links, and a link to our Etsy store. Plus, you can submit a question or inspiring story that might be featured on a future episode.
For guest clips, episode reminders, and trivia giveaways, follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Library Exchange and on TikTok at library.exchange.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We can't wait to have you back for our next episode.